for just $9.95 every day.
Quite yet. And in they go, closing the traps. That's the last breath. And Chiefs are looking for the big V here. It's still not over. I can't believe it, Bryce. And it looks like they're going to shot. And he's going for more. The double kill for the Jinx. Order cannot be stopped. This is just absolute destruction right now. And all of a sudden, Mimic comes to the party. He does get a massive stun, and that turns it right around. You've just got to give an absolute standing ovation to the heirs apparent of the OPL.
Welcome to the League of Legends OPL Grand Final! 4 splits, 4 titles. They cement their legacy as the OPL Kings. Hello, welcome to day 1 of week 8 of split 2 of the 2019 OPL. I am Nick Boy Richardson, and I got all the numbers right, despite the best efforts of Jake, Spawn, Tiberi, and Rusty. You were very nice to me and didn't try and troll. How are you, gentlemen?
Yeah, not bad. I mean, it's been a big week. Just excited. We're in the thick of things, really, in the OPL. But yeah, I'm good. I'm happy. I'm healthy, finally.
I'm bloody terrific.
You are in a mood, my friend.
Do you know why?
You need to be watched.
I flew Virgin today.
Oh, right.
Yep. And I had Wi-Fi on my airplane.
Oh, nice.
And I had a short queue. And they gave me a complimentary coffee and like this honey oat bar. And it was bloody banger. And other airlines, not going to name you on this broadcast.
The rest of them.
But every other
Take
one.
note.
Yeah.
Take note. You are being seriously outclassed in nearly every metric.
So, 2 things. One, just before we started the broadcast, Jake looked at me and said it's week 9. Just for me. Second, Wi-Fi on airplanes.
Yep.
Controversial. Because I
How?
love Wi-Fi.
Sure.
I love using the internet.
Yep.
But an aeroplane, to me, has always been a space where I'm like, you know, I could just read, or I could just sleep and not just like mindlessly scroll through all the dumb things that we subscribe to.
That's really interesting. And with self-discipline, you can still do both of those things, Nick.
I understand. Oh my goodness, you were in a mood. Yeah, no, but like the last time when I was on a flight with Wi-Fi, my phone would start pinging with messages, and then I would be like, "Oh, I'll just check Twitter," and then it was.
And then you
all
get the
over.
phantom pings as
Oh,
well.
look at this
sometimes.
guy.
all over.
I'm so popular. Unlike you, Jake, your phone just stays silent the whole of your flight, so you don't get distracted with your book.
Just say
Just put on D&D mode.
D&D mode.
Do not disturb.
Oh right, okay. I thought there was another
Dungeons
game that I was
and
missing out
Dragons.
on.
But in saying that, complimentary Wi-Fi nowadays.
That's
You
good.
used to have to pay for it. Now,
How's the speed?
the standard one, well, it's fine. It's good enough for browsing.
Yeah, okay.
And then they have a very fast one that you have to pay a little bit, which, you know, for a 1 hour flight, probably not worth. And you can stream and stuff.
Rusty, do you want to talk about Wi-Fi for 5 minutes?
Not really. I never use it on planes, though. Even if it's there, I actively choose not to. So
Do you
maybe
just watch the movies on the screen?
if there is a screen, I'll watch the movies. I'll read a book. I don't have Kindle, though. I'm a much bigger fan of the handheld books.
I
went
was
back to
like
handheld.
that. But,
You went back to Kindle.
yeah, the reason I went back to Kindle is it's so hard to get books. Because I've read everything.
Right. Okay.
So then you have to buy them
a
online,
weird
and then
flex,
if you
but okay.
finish a book, like, no, and also, like, surely, I'm not talking to you two.
No,
Continue on with the show.
No. Tell me about.
I'm one of
other books
those
you've read.
people. I'm one of those people that I walk into a sci-fi fantasy section because that's all I read in a bookstore, and like I can sit there and like name like I've read every book in the section.
Like done it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Because
Okay.
I also read probably 400 to 500 pages of a book a day.
Weird flex, but okay. Welcome back to another week of the OPL. Week 8. I'm excited.
I'm not anymore.
League
You know what?
of Legends.
I reckon we can call it there. This has been a great show.
Jake's going to walk us through his Kindle next segment. We have a lot of League coming up over the next couple of weeks. We've got an evening to get through tonight. Let's take a look at the games that we will be playing today. Game number 1, Direwolves versus Legacy. Game 2, Avant versus Gravitas. Game 3, Order versus Bombers. Game 4, Mammoth versus the Chiefs. We just keep putting the bangers on at the end of the day, don't we?
That is such a good fourth game,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I think game number 2 also really good because I don't know whether we want to spill the beans now.
Spill
but
some beans.
Potentially some roster shifts coming through for Avant Gaming and also a Gravitas on the upswing.
Yep.
I called him out. There is a direct correlation between me like absolutely smashing a team in a segment
Yep.
and them turning their year around and then subsequently beating my team. I did it to Legacy last year, last week,
yeah.
remember?
Yep.
They came out, gave order the old slap.
Yep.
Then I absolutely smashed Gravitas 2 weeks ago. They come out last week, just give us this big slap again. So I'm looking forward to game 2.
I was going to say, there's no way it's a coincidence. Like, you have enraged the blood
That's
of
what it is. And
many men.
it's just making people mad. You don't like teams when they're angry. And I apparently do that to
You
teams a
apparently
lot.
make teams very angry. Game 4, an exciting game. Game 3, which is the order game, not game
exciting.
1. Not excited, but
Don't watch.
I want to know, did Dream have to pay for a new bowl?
No, actually, it was really funny because he was like, "You want me to throw it?" And I was like, "Yeah, like just chuck it in the air, dude."
Yeah, like throw the
Yeah.
popcorn.
And then I'm like, "But there's only one take of this, so like the camera is roughly in that direction.
Yeah.
Don't hit the camera, but
Yeah.
kind of lob it in that direction." And then everyone else is just like, "You know what? You're overcomplicating this. Just bound out of your chair." And then I don't know whether you guys saw it, but there was definitely 2 actions there. Once given permission to break the bowl,
Yep.
the bowl was definitely thrown in my direction. I don't know if you saw, but I'm the person sitting on the other side of the table and not anywhere near the camera. And then what we didn't think was Spooks didn't have shoes on and was supposed to run towards the door at the end of that skit.
All right.
And kind of like
But he showed some self-control.
tiptoes around all of it. It was quite funny to film that.
You probably made Dream angry at some point during the week, and then he threw the bowl at you.
I actually don't think so. I was really nice to
Gravitas
Dream
threw the
this
ball
week.
at you last week.
Yep.
That's just how it goes.
I was really nice to Dream this week. If out of any, like, if you interview Dream this week,
Yep.
which you might not because we can't win a game at the moment, but if you did, he would say that I had been very nice.
You've got us instead of our players, by the way. It's a recurring trend right now.
Yeah, very true. All right, well, let's get on with the evening. We have game number 1, which we've been talking about, Direwolves versus Legacy. Legacy still in it. This is the last possible in it they can
We
be.
misspoke. I think
Despite
it's
what
fair to
Bryce
say.
kept saying, Bryce was wrong. Obviously, Legacy's still in the race.
Yep, Legacy's still with a chance. Direwolves still, though, looking like a good team at any moment. So
I
he's
give-
just losing the plot.
I give you permission to throw a ball at him.
Good.
Legacy. Yeah, this is it for Legacy. It's do or die.
What are your
This
thoughts
is-
of the game, Rusty?
I don't have thoughts anymore on the game. Can we just...
This is it for the broadcast. We're done, and we've only been on for 10 minutes. Let's throw into the Macca's Champ Select. Then you've got whoever's sitting at the desk.
Surprise!
Thank you guys for your ever expert analysis. Now, over to us. How are you doing today, Eugene?
I'm actually doing really well. I don't know why. I'm in a really good mood.
Anything has changed in your life
Uh,
recently?
No, not particularly. Nick's hand has gone up. But you got anything to say? No, he's got nothing to say. That's fine. No, actually, I mean, we had a very, very interesting day on the OCS last night. I got to cast my first ever 4 versus
True, you were
5.
telling me about that.
That was an experience. But yeah, no, just a good start to the
Who won?
morning.
Did the 4 win?
No. Well, yes. They came back, and it wasn't a 4 versus 5 for like
Okay.
longer than 8 minutes, but he came back and he was just starting on people. So, yeah, great
every
job,
game's
Emprox.
winnable, you know?
Congratulations.
There you go.
Yeah.
You could be the front man for, reducing toxicity in solo queue,
Yeah,
Every
oh.
4 versus 5 is
I'm
winnable.
the front man. I like
Yeah.
that. That's a switcheroo. We've done a full number on
spokesperson.
this one. Yeah, hell yeah.
The motivational speaker. All right, let's get into game 1, Direwolves versus Legacy. And yeah, Legacy can still make playoffs.
Yes.
We basically still have a full round robin. So
Mm-hmm.
if they just win everything, there is a possibility.
Which is the surprise, right? I was sitting on the couch last week, got a cheeky word in my ear being like, oh, if they drop a game, then they will be out. But absolutely incorrect. A 0-2 here today is gonna be the go card there for Legacy. If they lose both games this weekend,
Yes.
then they are out of the tournament. The scoreline definitely doesn't look pretty, but that was definitely misinformation last week, so take it with absolutely 9 million grains of salt.
Yeah, all of the salt.
Yep.
All of the salt possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Direwolves banning away the Tristana, Yasuo, Rumble on Legacy side.
Yeah.
Gragas, Lee Sin, and Silas.
So this is already a fairly interesting draft, right? You can see the target bans towards Legacy from Direwolf's side. In the Rumble, they flex that all over the place. In the Yasuo as well. Tristana, if you haven't really been keeping up in international metas, I don't think we've seen her in the OPL or Oceanic, any competitive games as of yet. But solo lane, you can take Ignite, you can take TP. Your all-in threat is absolutely insane when you take PTA. It's a little Goomba stomp to the head.
Yep.
You get the satchel charge, you bust a shot. That is a whole lot of burst from what was an AD carry and is actually a scary power pick in the current meta.
Yeah, it just kind of cropped up, and it's just everywhere now. It's just
Yes.
infested League of Legends.
I think, yes, Tristana is an infestation. That's a really good word.
100%. So yeah, probably expect to see a lot of bans today, if not like a lot of picks as well. I'm hearing it's because like it can be picked into a lot of the flex picks.
Yes.
And it's just like a case of like the flies are here, pick up the spider to kill the flies.
Yeah.
You know.
Just chase them around.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like one thing to count another thing to count another thing. But that's the reason why first pick Sejuani, nothing's changed there. Legacy over to their side, Rakan and Azir. Did see the Riven Hub. I do know Pat Rides is a Riven player, but not going to be locked in.
Yeah, shoutouts to Tien. Maybe he gave him some inspiration last
Tough
week.
act to follow, though.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely. I would say so. I actually like the bans coming out of Legacy, though, because if you take a look at Direwolves, coming off a 1-1 weekend, they have two very different games. And I was kind of saying it at the back end of their second day. Like, putting Raze on Lee Sin like the Gragas, these are like two very proactive junglers where he can make stuff happen early for the Direwolves, and he has played a bunch of Sejuani, and he is probably one of the best junglers in the league, right? So they ban away the proactivity. He goes back to something that he has played a bunch of, but significantly less proactive. And then, look, here's the plan coming to fruition here for Legacy. Guts, long-time Zac, long-time Rek'Sai. They've been his like most successful champions over the course of his career, so this is obviously a very set-in-stone plan. They've executed, got what they've wanted, and now it's just about executing here on the day.
Yeah, very much been really the story for Legacy, I think, across the board. You know, like there's very few drafts you look towards Legacy and like, I felt like they lost in draft, or maybe, you know, they made it a lot harder for themselves. In general, drafting pretty good. Like when you get to game, it's just like, all right, you know, what stage of the game are we going to see this team have to overcome their hurdle? And that market, I will also say, has been pushed further and further and further into the game. So, you know, again, a similar setup for Legacy as they ban away the Renekton, going to have a responsibility ready, very similar champions in what they do, but also in the context of a Sejuani game, quite important here.
Yeah, but it is kind of curious that it was like an Ezreal Yuumi lock-in when the Renekton was up, the Aurelia was up, the Kled, like all of these melee bruiser champions to pair with a Sejuani were just open, and Direwolves are like, no, we'll pick the bottom lane. They have in recent times been playing around their solo lane as much more. You saw Biopanther just on your screen there. He's had some good Akali games, get back in a fairly similar scenario. So they pick negative bot side. They see a Rakan. They're not too phased about the Xayah, actually. They ban away the Kai'Sa, which is curious, but they've obviously gone very negative on the bottom side of the map, and they're just opening things up for the solo laners to get some sort of counter pick.
Yeah, Corki and Kai'Sa rounding up those bans there, and Legacy will lock in the Kled. So literally the three champions we're talking about, Renekton, Aurelia, Kled, all taken away from the Sejuani. Horror of the Gnar here, obviously, like, doesn't have the same synergy with Sejuani will when transformed, but obviously a lot more situational than a lot of the just run at your opponent and you're good. Gangplank, bit of a throwback pick, most likely going to go into the top lane here.
Yes, and I am actually very surprised by this. This is Direwolves going incredibly negative, like across the board. Ezreal Yuumi bottom side, yes, the Gangplank is what you should expect to be the Kled. Given that the Azir is locked in, there's not really any flexibility there, but yeah, this is going to be GP just trying to get through the top side of the map. This is going to be some proactivity, though. I like this pickup into the Azir, right? Talia, it's not the Talia mid lane of old, right? Doesn't just have infinite wave clear, but certainly does fit in the same ballpark. So they definitely wanted to open up the map through Get Back here and trying to help out their side lanes.
Yeah, similar story there for the Talia, but Kiana, and Rusty said this earlier, I find it so difficult to think of her as Kiana now that everybody has a different nickname for her.
Qatar, Quebec.
Yep.
Quinoa.
Quinoa.
Quinoa? I mean, that's just if you don't know how to pronounce quinoa.
What is the correct way to pronounce quinoa? It's quinoa.
Quinoa. Yeah.
Quinoa. Yeah.
But like everybody reads it
as
like quinoa if you haven't heard it.
Right.
It's kind of like, I remember back in school, I said epitome out loud once.
Yeah, instead of
epitome, and God, I felt dumb.
Is it oxymoron or oxymoron?
Oxymoron. You've got the emphasis on the wrong syllable there, I reckon. That's...
My English teacher always said if you say oxymoron, you're a moron, so...
Okay.
Yeah, oxymoron. Anyway, so yeah, oxymoron in the mid lane. A pick that I honestly expected to see a lot more. We did see a good amount of bans last week, but so far I think we've only seen it in top lane, actually. This is the first in the mid lane pick we've seen, at least in OPL, at the very least.
Yeah, because we have been seeing like a lot more Yasuos and... I forgot her name. Kiana. I genuinely forgot her name.
Yeah, we had a whole conversation about this.
And yeah, fills a similar role, but this does mean that Praedyth is going to be rocking the Azir in what I expect to be the bottom side of the map. So yeah, this is super curious. Legacy, I kind of mentioned, like when they locked in the Kled, expect it to be towards the top side. You just cannot flex around that Azir, but different story coming out in this one. And Praedyth, who in recent times, over the course of the split, has been one of the most consistent members here for Legacy.
Yeah.
It's going to be in his hands.
Yeah, I honestly, like, actually looking at the Kiana pick, I wonder if it's also just into Talia, right? Talia ults and then Kiana just ults after it. But yeah, we'll see as we get into the game. And joining us, it's Denian. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. And like talking about these compositions, we've got obviously the Kiana pick coming out here as well. And we're also talking about the fact that Direwolves seem to have a lot of lanes that aren't going to win against yours. So what are you thinking about this draft?
Well, I'm personally happy about it. Obviously, picking Azir, I think people are going to think it's going to be mid for the entire draft, so you're going to be able to kind of pull one over them. So I feel like that's kind of what happened for their solos.
Yeah, and I'm kind of settling on this opinion. Is that like somewhat of your identity or one of your like go-to moves as a coach? I feel like you never really look at a Legacy game and it's like, I don't know what they're trying to do. Of course, like a 113 scoreline comes down to execution a lot of the time, but like, is that like you always want to have a very solidified plan and draft?
Well, we have a very clear idea of what we want to do going into the week and going into like our practice. And then we do try to adjust what we're doing towards the other team. So we have like our identity and like what we're doing this week as an example is very similar to what we did last week. But adjusting to it, how we think we can like potentially abuse weaknesses that the other team might have. So I think a lot of our failures have come down from sometimes we might misunderstand what they want and misdraft, and sometimes that's going to happen when you do like unorthodox things.
Yeah, if you experiment.
But at the same time, sometimes we do just lose from like mistakes which happen, and that is unfortunate. But all we can do is get back on the horse, so to speak.
Keep trucking along. I want to ask you about, and you're not obligated to give me a direct answer here, but obviously my opinion of the Direwolves like coming out, I think that Raze on proactive picks looks much better for the Direwolves than he does on anything negative. And obviously you guys went for the Lee Sin Gragas bans. Is that a similar read to what's in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we play them again, so I don't think it really matters. Yeah, the view I have on Direwolves is the games that they have played where Raze is on an impactful early game champion or like an impactful ganking champion. They are a very scary team. And obviously they still can do that to an extent with Sejuani like they are doing right now.
Just did.
But it is a lot more mitigated on the champion like Sejuani. And obviously we pick Zach into the Sejuani, so we have our limited early game options there. But that is, again, a response to they will probably pick Sejuani, and this is the response we decided for it in this game.
Yeah, cool.
So when you're looking at, like, with your preparation, is it like we want to get to B from A, and do you think about, like, the different branches to get there, right? Because obviously at the start of this game, like, bottom lane gets chunked out, has to use flash, jungle, a lot of intervention from Raze. Like, do you think about what can go wrong and then come back, or is it, like, more about, all right, we're going to stick to this plan?
I think a lot of it is just what we want to accomplish, like going into the game. The words that I'll say to the team, as an example, is this is what we want to accomplish. This is what we're trying to do. Sometimes I'll say, like, if they have a very focused composition on, like, it's very specifically what they want to do, I'll talk about, like, this is the thing that they are most likely going to do. I don't see another way that they play this game. Be very cautious of the
Like
this
X,
specific.
Y, Z. Yeah.
But for the most part, I'm saying if we stick to our win condition, our play style, how we want to play, more often than not, that's going to be better than reacting to the other team.
All right, well, great talking to you, Denian, and we'll catch you there.
Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Yeah, crucial flash there from Paprise, otherwise that would have been a kill. This is still scary though. This is a barrel away from dead, so either Paprise thinks he can remount, which with the minion wave pushed away from him, not going to happen, so we'll recall now.
Yeah, it is a rough start. You heard Denian kind of mention it, answering one of those questions, but using the only lane of what I guess that's not necessarily true now that you've locked in like an Azir and a Rakan on the bottom side, and the chunk level 1 means that the Direwolves are in this situation where Ezreal Yuumi just continuously pushing in, but getting very active on the map, as we alluded to with the Talia. Level 2, they invade the Raptors, Guts loses his flash. Zach, as kind of Denian hinted to, doesn't really have the most ganking options, like pre-level 5-ish. Level 6 is optimum, then you get the ulti, like, of course, but kind of needs a couple of extra points in his E to get that extra range to be relevant. So you can see Direwolves certainly coming out of the gate swinging. That's going to be a flash blown in almost every lane. Chaz is the last member standing, and here's a gank.
Yeah, that being said, Guts is on his way to the mid lane, but there is a response from Raze and Biopanther from the top lane. Flash away by Get Back, and now Guts trying to get out of this one. Stun comes down, tries to get back to the tower, but gets turned into Bloblets, and Chaz, he wants to try and help out, but he's just trying to body block for the Blobs. Can't make it happen, and first blood will go over to the Talia.
Yeah, and just a very nice read there for the Direwolves. Counter gank already set up in place, knew what was coming. No flash on the Zac means that he gets punished. And just as I was saying, Chaz is the only guy left with a flash button available, then he's going to lose it. Biopanther's still in mid lane, though.
Catches him on the flick, and Razor's still here. Chaz, last auto attack finishes him off, and that's 2 kills to start the game for Direwolves.
Yeah, slaps the Kiana in the back of the head with a flail, and Sejuani's just going to secure this one. So, disastrous start here for Legacy. Direwolves absolutely coming out this one. Very aggressive early game and making it work. A significant gold lead already. We're 5 minutes, 6 minutes into the game, and that's hit 2K by this point. So, very good start here for the blue side. Yeah,
I mean, CS leads in pretty much every lane, every metric is going over towards the Direwolves. The only thing is top lane, which Cloud has a small advantage, but Gangplank has A, the wave pushing towards him, and B, actually hasn't got Clipper this game. It's actually gone for the safer route of Grasp here, which, you know, makes sense, losing lane.
Yeah, I think we've kind of... Well, maybe it's not necessarily true. We see a lot of like Klepto Corkies and stuff like that, but it's no longer the days of like Klepto GP, greed out, freeze lanes, that sort of stuff. Like turret plating and just just the meta has meant that you kind of can't look to sack as much as you used to because the catch-up mechanics aren't necessarily there. Like snowballing with turret plating is infinitely easier. So yeah, you mentioned it. Every GP I think we've seen this split has been the grass route, and I mean that meant that he got those early trades, right? He actually has already forced out the TP of Paprise. And GP is that champion when you look at him like holistically, you simplify it. It's like sit there, farm, do nothing. And if they TP away, which most likely they will look to do something on the other side of the map, you either attack the Gangplank or attack the other side.
Another gank into the mid lane, this time onto Get Back, and it's just CC Central going to take him down. Nice little kill there from Legacy.
Yeah, okay. Turning this one around. Raze has actually shown an award here, so Chaz should be ultimately okay to shove this one in, but that's a very proactive roam from the support of Legacy. Crazy burns both summoners to get his mid lane back into this one, and you can see the build coming out. Dirk building into lethality. If the Kiana gets rolling, can be incredibly scary. And remember back to the draft, the Azir blind was answered by the Talia, and then they countered with what Chaz has locked in, so definitely...
Ooh! Azir ultimate into the tower. Actually, as tower aggro attaches Katsuri, tanking the damage there, and Totoro gets out by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, barely survives that turret shot with the back end of the summoner heal. The Izumi's coming through, but very nicely played from Prater. If you can see, propensity to lock in other things. He is a guy that started off the season, started off the year in a solo lane and has ventured down to the bot side. And I guess with G2 being the biggest team that changes up what can be played down here, utilizing that one with the Azir and looking good so far.
Yeah, bot lane going pretty well. I mean, like, still 3-wave advantage, right? But, like, the option to potentially get a kill there into the bottom side and very close to being able to do so is obviously very nice for them. See, top lane was just trading off, and yeah, Jungle was actually thinking about a gank, talking about Guts. He went into the top side, looked for the tower dive, didn't have his passive, though, so it would have been basically on Kled tanking and then swapping aggro, but decides to back away from it. It's just interesting that he like walked from jungle all the way to top and then decided not to and then walked back. You know, it's a good like 30 seconds of
time invested. Yeah. And I mean, that does speak towards some of the jungle lead right now. This is pretty significant for a Sejuani. The Zac was the answer here. 20 CS lead, 5 camps roughly over is a good situation to be in. And I like what the Direwolves have done this game in terms of forcing mid-priority. You can see this matchup, like Chaz, he brought Crazy over, kills the Talia with ease. As soon as the flash is down, like kill threat is through the roof there. Oh, this is going to be an all-in.
Yeah, Yumi onto 2, caught Crazy, and the Gangplank ultimate coming down. It will be the kill over to Katsuri.
Yeah, calculated damage here, enforcing the Azir backing away off the turret. Raze may actually look for this one.
Yeah, forcing the flash out of the Azir as well. Pretty much just getting everything from that play. All summoners down in the bottom lane for Legacy. This is going to be multiple plates now. Probably going to be 4 plates, to be honest.
Yeah. Recall comes through, no TP to get himself back to the lane, and this is going to be a potential response here for Legacy. You can see Paprise does have the charge, can look to go behind the turret. Get Back is playing incredibly defensively, reads the play, nice call from Biopanther on the top side, and look, hangs out behind the wall, he's just chilling for now, only lost a couple of CS, so will ultimately be okay. Is that first
Do they
brick?
take this?
Nah.
Surely not. Oh, with the extra attack speed. No.
Nah. Plating resists. You know, you take down 3 plates and all of a sudden the tankiness of the turret is disgusting. Guts.
Still going for it into the mid side.
Oh.
Mid lane, rather. Doesn't hit the ultimate from Kiana. Raze was also still there, you know. The amount of counter ganks I've seen from Raze this game have been actually crazy.
And that's what, like, the bot lane interrupted, right? With that fight, that dive onto Legacy, they get a bunch of plates, but they know that this Kiana is very dangerous, and every single time, right? Raze already has a jungle lead, but he's still found time to be like, camp, hover mid lane, do a camp, hover mid lane. Every time Zach is looking, the Sejuani is around in the vicinity, and a flash from Talia will get him to safety. So, yes, the matchup doesn't look good individually, but there's just been so much help from the side lanes here for Get Back that honestly, he's looked okay so far. Now got himself to the Seeker's Arm Guard, right? Like the breakpoints are coming through, a little bit of extra armor. That ulti missing from Chaz means this is going to be like, what, a minute and a half, whatever the cooldown is at rank 1, where he just doesn't really have kill threats. So yeah, they've done well at shepherding a weak point of their map right now. And what's this, a 3,000 gold lead? 3 kills to 1? The early game is absolutely going as expected here for Direwolves.
Yeah, absolutely, but maybe not in the way that we thought, right? Because we're looking towards Get Back at like push lane, roam, move to side lane, get a kill. But actually all the pressure has been from Legacy and mid lanes. So it's like, okay, sit mid lane, absorb, side lanes will do the work.
Yeah.
And first brick, you know, at like what, 11 minutes 30, top lane is ahead as well. And yeah, we have a 4,000 gold lead at essentially 11 minutes, 12 minutes now. And yet this is gank number 4, 5 onto mid lane. And it feels like it has to work now. Guts hops the wall, gets flicked back. Crazy coming to mid lane as well. In fact, the whole family's here. And Legacy will get themselves a kill. Now looking towards mid lane tower.
Yeah, all 5 members rock up to the play. And actually very clutch Q from Guts lands. If the Q misses from Zach, then that's just a flash over the wall. Everything expended, and Legacy would have got ultimately nothing from the play. But CC lands, they secure that kill. This is a response, Raze?
This is a 2 versus 4 currently, but they've actually forced the support away, and Guts jumps in but doesn't really have the backup of his team. Raze, once again, lands the flail, gets another kill. In for the top lane, Biopanther executes 1. Bloblitz trying to reform, not going to happen. Katsuri gets another, and that's a 2 for 1.
Yeah, Legacy hard force stick around just that little bit too long, and Direwolves with the response time again. A couple of kills go their way, a 2 for 1 at the end of that one. Guts once again loses his passive, super useful there for the Zach if they're going to continually look to force these plays. So Direwolves, this early game has just been response after response. They're always in the right area. They're playing quick enough. Their proactive plays are coming too quick for Legacy to respond, and when Legacy ultimately do, they're already there waiting.
Biopanther's also just had a great time in this game. You know, sat top lane, has Triforce at 13 minutes into Kled, which feels pretty good, and every single one of his ultimates has gotten him an assist. You know, he hasn't moved from top lane, and he's got 100% kill participation. You know?
That's a top laner's dream.
Yeah, good day to be GP. So yeah, I mean, every lane is just in a great place right now. Top lane, Paprise is going to go back up there, but it's currently the bottom lane that has swapped up there from the Direwolves. Raze kicking off the Herald, and Crazy on his way with the rest of the team here from Legacy, looking for this contest. It's 2 versus 3, so Direwolves probably back this one up. And Legacy have done enough to stop this objective from being taken.
And a couple of things, right? Like, looking at what has happened so far, the Air Drake may be a little bit inconsequential, but was taken off screen as that mid push came out of Legacy. But you can see Direwolves are somewhat getting a little bit greedy. That Rift Herald start is like, if they don't come and check it, we just get this for free, maybe looking to take advantage of how slow Legacy is trying to play this game. And you see, as soon as a ward goes over the wall, Crazy plops that down, and Raze is like, all right, peace, like, I'm just going to leave. Ezreal Yumi's being annoying, just flinging stuff underneath the turret, so it's not really like they lost much of anything. But they are looking to play this one very quickly. They're looking for the greedy plays to take advantage of what is happening right now, and it does mean that you get this big of a gold lead so early into the game. Plating just died, and it's already 5,000-6,000 lead here, and first items, 2 items completed for the Ezreal. That is ambitious.
Yeah, it looks like just to zone him away from the tower more than anything, trying to get pot shots against the tower because it is just so low. Figure that's more than anything. Meanwhile, Herald is also being contested, so Chaz and Guts once again in the 2 versus 2.
Yeah.
But Paprise is on his way up here, and Biopanther will have to teleport into the fight, so if Legacy want it, now could potentially be the time. In fact, looking for the inner track into mid lane instead.
And a respectable punish here for Legacy. Paprise, no TP, yes, so he just has to wander over, mounts up, and has the extra move speed, just makes his way to topside. And given that Qiyana is locked in, the one thing we know about this champion is, like, how do you take a Baron? It's so scary. Well, fancy that, Rift Herald spawns in exactly the same pit. Razor started it up twice. As soon as Chaz has shown his head, he's just like, all right, like, I have to walk away from this one. And first opportunity, didn't really lose much. Maybe just a little bit of time for the jungler.
Yeah.
Takes his Gromp a little bit later, but that's time number 2. Legacy get a mid lane outer turret, which, given the situation with a 5,000 gold lead, you shouldn't really be trading things for like a mid lane turret, a top lane turret. That was ultimately what went down, so yeah, Direwolves actually getting punished in this regard, and now Nash's Tooth completed for the Azir. He's scaling up. Duskblade and Tiamat's now completed on both their solo laners, so Legacy, they are starting to hit a couple of item break points, but Dire will still maintain some semblance of control.
All right, I have a question for you.
All right.
What moves faster, Qiyana Ultimate or Talia Wall?
Oh, can Talia like ride into the sunset?
Right. Can she run away? Can she surf away from the Qiyana Ultimate?
Well, I think Qiyana ulti would be quicker, but given the context of how that happens, Qiyana has to be reactive.
Correct.
So Talia will always have like a little bit of a head start.
Yes.
So that, like, if that ever happens, you will be in like an arms race of like, did I start this quick enough? Like the Talia, you know what I mean? It's like you're on the beach and there's a tidal wave coming in and you're squealing running Maidland. That's
But if it moves fast enough, you could actually just like stand at the end of the wall and wait until it gets to the destination and then activate it, right? And then potentially hit multiple enemies if you're Qiyana.
Oh, if like Talia is
You know
coming
what I mean?
into a fight.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and wait for her to arrive. I was thinking like, Talia.
I was thinking
trying
both.
to, trying to zoom off into the sunset. And, like, I gotta get the hell away from the Qiyana. But yeah, you're right. If you land in a team fight, that's terrain she can abuse.
I just really want to see this.
That'd be a
interaction.
wombo.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Because I looked at that matchup, and this is like, I mean, obviously that's not the pure reason why you pick it, but it's something that will happen probably, even by proxy, you know, put it onto a terrain. But Razor's going to kick up the fight. Good flash out from Pradiff. And the rest of Legacy not really looking to engage right now. Infernal is up though. That being said, Guts will just fly right in there. He's very low HP. Pops lets bounce and the rest of the team flies forward. But there's a good amount of disengage here from the Direwolves. And Biopanther running back in towards them. Gets 2 kills. Paprise dismounted, descarred, and dead. 3 kills over to the Direwolves.
And a huge proactive play from Legacy, but the engage just does not stick. Direwolves once again have the response. You saw Infernal Dragon, all 10 members step up to the plate, but now Rift Herald popped. Charge into a non-existent turret means the next one is going to be soon to fall. Still 15-20 seconds on the relevant members' respawns here. And Direwolves, that's an explosive lead. That's going to be an in-here bash from Shelly.
Yeah,
monster advantage.
That was almost a full health Shelly going on to inhib there, actually. Half healthing mid lane tower. And moving on to the Infernal. Yeah, that's double tower, 3 kills, and an Infernal, you know, for Direwolves. That's massive. And looking at like an 8k gold lead at 18 minutes now. The Wolves in a great situation. It was just everyone was short by a few inches.
Yeah, but like Zac goes in, doesn't land, and then Crazy gets CC'd by the Yuumi ult. He took one too many waves, so he doesn't land any charm. Dies before the knock-up, so you saw the play, right? Legacy, it's Zac goes in, then the extra layer of the Kled, the extra layer of the Rakan. If those landed, then maybe you have enough time for Chaz to come in over the top, land the Wombo, take people down, but Dire was just a little bit too quick. It was a flick looking at onto the Zac. Just all stepping back as a solid unit. When you have a gold lead, the team fight goes one way very quickly, and as soon as the front line falls, the back line gets chased away, and Direwolves just walk away with absolutely everything.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like a really great engage, but at the same time, like I feel like I may need to rewatch it. But it looked like Legacy were like a second and a half behind. You know, like they were kind of, you know, when you're wobbling back and forth when you're like waiting for a fight, but they weren't moving towards the play as Zac jumped in.
Yeah,
and it almost felt like that was the difference between like not getting Yuumi stacked and getting Yuumi stacked.
Oh, this is a complete surround here for Legacy. Chaz has ulti. Watch the wall.
3v4, but get back here as well. Hopping this one with Katsuri. Raze don't really want to jump on him, but the rest of the team jumping into the pit here, and they're actually just going to kill Chaz. Guts under attack as well. He'll fall, stunned up, goes into Bloodblitz and Crazy, not looking to defend this one. Double kill in for Get Back.
Yeah, 2 huge mega flubbed engages time after time here for Legacy. Direwolves just stand, get over the Baron wall, and they fight immediately. Another couple of kills go down, and remember, it is pre-20 minutes, so no Baron can be taken. Biopanther, again, this game is sitting on the 8 out of 10 in terms of kill parts, but Still has just been left completely alone in the side lane. Free to just hit the turret, use
Whoa.
his ulti, and
How much damage was that from Crazy? That was
lot.
like 60% of his HP.
yes, that's a lot.
And that was 3 minions as well. That was with damage reduction. Yeah, that's quite scary. That's quite large. Mid lane tower.
The new
about to
age
go down.
Ezreal, right? You got
Yeah.
the Yumi on your back, so amp you up a little bit, but has the Sorcerer's Boots, almost has himself a Ludens, and is going to go back and complete it now.
Yeah.
305 Katsuri.
This is a big AD carry. Yeah,
Mm.
and he has 10,000 gold. Okay.
Yes, that hurts. Hurts a lot. 3k up in the bottom side, probably a little bit more. Tiny lead for the Talia in the mid lane, but then once again at the top side, GP significantly ahead. This is dangerous territory, and now we do have the Baron on the map. 20 minutes 30 has been hit on the clock. Legacy, that was a good surround. The engage could have worked if they found the right members, but this time CC doesn't land. Are able to just get themselves to safety, and now comes the hard part. Losing a Baron will mean your base is broken. That mid lane turret will be regenning somewhat, but already bashed to like half HP by Shelly. Fire Panthers made short work of the side lane turrets, so the map is completely open, and the ward lane, if Direwolves want to play a slower game, which looks
mean,
like no.
Not going to happen. Katsuri 3 taps the Kiana. That was Mystic Shot, W and E. Yep.
Yep, that's it. 3 abilities, Yumi ulti
He
over the
didn't
top.
even hit the ultimate. That should,
Yeah.
that's not okay.
Didn't need it. And
yeah.
sent back to wherever Kiana comes from.
I'm not actually sure the lore on that. I just figure it's the same jungles as Nidalee. But.
Jungles? Oh, actually, yeah, no.
Right?
I was thinking like Shurima. She's kind of like, she's kind of
oh,
sandy.
a Shuriman champion. Yeah, maybe.
I don't know though. I have genuinely.
They're all
no clue.
anthropomorphic, like animals.
Anthropomorphic.
You say it.
Anthropomorphic.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Malphite. He's a rock, but also he's a
Well, that's not the. Is that the same thing?
anthropomorphic. Isn't it like when you humanize? No, that's personify. When you like humanize an inanimate object.
When you humanize a animal, right? Anthropomorphic.
Well, yeah, and I'm saying yeah. Okay, this conversation's dead. It's done. Who knows?
Someone who's more not. Maybe we'll ask the guy who reads
We
400
actually-
pages of a book a day. He'll
Yeah.
probably know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
True. We actually didn't say anything. We actually just messed up saying 4 different things, and it's like,
Correct.
all right, that's it.
And said nothing of value.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the millennial cast for you. Well, 22 minutes into this game. That's actually, Ezreal has picked up 1,300, 400 gold
Yeah.
in the last, like,
Minute.
90 seconds while we've
Yeah.
been talking.
Whilst we just really screwed that one
Yeah.
up. Nice. Katsuri, he knows what to do. He's zooming. Got himself a Vamp Scepter, so maybe going towards the Hex Tech eventually, but will the game even get to that point? What's the gold lead? 11,000 right now. Monumental here for the Direwolves, and they almost have every summoner up and available. It's interesting that they are looking to play towards bot side. They kind of take a look at what's going on around the Baron Pit, and yes, Legacy are infinitely far behind. But in a Baron Pit scenario, Zac can always get in, Kiana can always get in and can cause a ruckus, so they look at the mountain, they're like, that will make our life infinitely easier. We just go down, take that one. There is going to be no contest here from Legacy, so you can see right now they use that time. Oh,
A necessary flash,
yes.
because that would have been a dead Big Bird. So, yeah, we'll go back to base. Loses flash just off of a straight Ezreal ultimate down the mid lane. Theoretical question. If everything lands from Legacy in a 5v5, can they win?
Yeah. If everything lands. If you get a 5-man Kiana ultimate, you get Zac onto the back lines. He hasn't got the old kidnap anymore, but he can just be throwing people left, right, and center. Azir is approaching 2 items. Like, they do have damage, right? Direwolves are not tanky, bar the Sejuani. But if you're womboing the backline, like, who cares about the Sejuani? The Dream is there. It's just about finding access to the Dream. It is incredibly difficult, and you can see Direwolves have genuinely slowed down the game, right? Pre-20 minutes, it was fight here, fight there, constantly reacting to what was going on and looking for the punish, but as soon as Baron is on the cards, they take a step back and they're like, we can throw this. This game is not over until we take the Baron, until we break the base. So they are doing their due diligence and pushing their ward lane much further, much deeper into the enemy jungle.
And he just random skill shots just flying across
It's a really tense one.
doing a lot.
Yeah, when an Ezreal ulti comes like so close, you get that near miss bonus, you know, need for speed underground too.
Yep. I mean, it's also the fact that it does 80% of someone's health. So if you take any down, you're doing
you get a hit bonus as well.
Yeah. So yeah, this is quite scary. And those ultimates come up pretty quickly. They're like every 35 seconds or so, you're going to have an Ezreal ultimate coming across. Raze kicking off this one, and Direwolves do a lot of damage, so this will die very quickly unless Legacy can catch up. We've got Get Back basically zoning them away right now as the gatekeeper.
Yeah. Normally Talia is actually... Oh, okay.
This is the prison. Still pushing
Jack
forward
goes
though,
in.
yeah, into the brush, jumps onto Pradiff. Guts following through, hits the Let's Bounce, in comes the Kled though, doesn't have anyone behind him, and there are so many Zhonya's Hourglass right now from the Direwolves. They're starting to get popped though, crazy, and Chaz chasing down Katsuri,
Legacy.
2 kills, Legacy getting another, but Biopanther in with a flank, finishes off the Kled. Chaz separated from his team, he still wants this fight though, Crazy behind him with Pradiff, laying down the Sand Soldiers, Crazy into his stopwatch, Get Back canning away Chaz. We can't catch up to anybody in this fight. Crazy hops the wall, and that's 3 for 2, and Dire will still come out ahead.
And an even fight, they push for more, and Legacy lose another member. Now the base is looking to be broken. If Chaz was still alive, then maybe they can defend the inhib. But Direwolves, they can't secure the Baron. They get themselves the fight they needed. Will break open the base and maybe get another crack at it right now. 2 minutes on the Dragon, Baron available, so everything's still up on the map, but that was way closer than expected. Legacy,
it looked like the dream.
Yes, right? Like, they have found themselves in so many flank scenarios. Clader's always getting access to something. Chaz gets to the backline and he looks for it. And in a split-up fight where Direwolves look to force and do whiff their buttons, that's Glacial Prism, nothing, right? The flick back lands nowhere from Get Back. Raze does deny the knock-up there from Guts. That's good mechanical skill, but the members are just in the wrong position right now. Katsuri has no Yuumi and is really not dishing out any form of damage right now, and Chaz just finds basically an isolated Ezreal, means that their damage goes through the floor. Yes, Biopanther picks it up, and from a 10,000 gold deficit at this stage, Legacy, they could back away. The Direwolves, they see the opportunity, they keep them interested. Legacy, they're looking for the fight. Praetor uses his dash forward, so he was committed to the fight, and as soon as he's like, well, I can't actually deal any more damage, just has to run for the hills, so Chaz dogged by the boys there, left in a bush with nowhere to go, and Direwolves still walk away with a victory.
You kind of put in a situation though with Legacy where it's like you just have to keep hitting all in. You know, it's like you get 2 kills and it's like there's a potential for a cleanup. I just gotta go for it. Good initiate by Guts, Praetor behind them as well. Yuumi ultimate for the disengage zone. Katsuri's low, and he carries dead. Raze backing away, he's dead as well. Legacy starting to pick up some kills. Gangplank ultimate stalling a lot of these members though. Jumping on to Get Back, Guts and Paprise doing a ton of damage. And this should be the 3rd kill with no recourse. 3 kills there, but bottom lane Biopanther.
Yeah, he gets an inhib turret, but can they take down the Baron? Legacy turned last team fight a 2 for 2 into a 2 for nothing here. They get a 3rd off the back end, and yes, it does cost them an inhib, but this Baron will buy them so much time. Yuumi absolutely alone trying to defend against a Baron. You can see pings at the wards. They have flank wards. They have TPs to get an Ezreal in, but Legacy going to make 2 quick work of the Baron buff, and he's dead.
Yeah, tries for a sneaky steal. If Yuumi picked up that steal there, that would have been ridiculous, but doesn't happen. And Legacy, great play here, getting a catch in the jungle, and it was just, instantaneous decision making out from Guts.
They just always find a flank. Chaz lanes ulti onto multiple members, and Katsuri dies very early. This has been 2 team fights in a row where the young man for the Direwolves has just been caught out in no man's land. As soon as he dies, as soon as Direwolves lose their front to back, Sejuani has to start running to the hills to try and live it. You can see turns into a disaster, and Biopanther, no TP to join this time, even probably looking at that play, maybe he didn't want to, but he gets something on the side lanes, but this gold lead is shrinking. That's 2 back-to-back, an even fight into a victorious fight there for Legacy, and the comeback turning from a dream into somewhat of a reality, making it work.
Yeah, from pipe dream to a possibility now. And the biggest thing that you were talking about for me is time, right? Like Legacy, they still lose the objectives that are very far out from them. Maybe they won't be able to pick up like blue, red buff, like even Dragon there. But what they do have is
a Baron.
A Baron.
I'd take a Baron over a red buff any day of the week.
So for another minute and a half, 2 minutes now, they're going to be in the game. Like there's, obviously the wave being set up, bot lane, mid lane, top lane, slowly pushing towards this inhibitor tower, but this isn't just a foregone conclusion now. And Legacy have demonstrated they can still win fights, so Direwolves throw out the wall. I just want Kiana's wall that immediately. But that is enough to zone them away. It's down, but the inhibitor,
Guts.
there's the engagement. Guts has to go for this one.
Lands it.
Jumps in, gets the CC down, in with the flank path. Rise jumping onto the backline, but Katsuri is untouched in this one and is able to fire back. Gets 2 kills onto the front line. Chaz and Praetive now getting chased down. He's slowed by Yuumi, and that will be the double coming in for the Ezreal. Biopanther gets his own as well, and that will be 4 kills to the Wolves.
Yeah, third time is not the charm here for Legacy Direwolves. Last inhib broken straight onto the Nexus.
Yeah, not a whole lot Praetive can do about this one, and it was shaky for a second, but the Direwolves managed to push on through and even mop up this last kill. Actually, Praetive looking for this one onto Raze, but we'll get that 1 return kill. But still, the Direwolves taking this one will pick up the victory today.
And a victor over Legacy, currently in terms of standings, you don't look at it as all that important, but actually Direwolves, starting off this week, they're sitting in the 5th place position. They have a 1-point lead over both Order and Gravitas. If they, for the rest of the season, just beat everybody below them on the ladder, lock themselves into playoffs, right? Like, head-to-head doesn't matter if you just maintain that point lead. So a victory over Legacy here today actually uncharacteristically important. And yeah, they secure it in what was pretty dominant fashion in the early stages, got a little bit sloppy, but at the end of the day, it worked.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Because you heard from Denny, and like a scary team, the Direwolves, but they're also a team, like, out of all of the teams in the OPL, like, definitely a team who can just lose to a team way below them, right? Like, we're also punching above their weight, but like, I think any team has a chance against the Direwolves at any point in time. So this is a game that, like, I do feel is very important for the Direwolves because they need to be consistently beating the teams underneath them for them to really make that playoff run. And this was, you know, the perfect day and the perfect game for them to do that.
And I think we really saw the best and worst of what I think a good Direwolves identity is. Right? Like, even on a Sejuani, Raze uses get back very early to attack the enemy jungler. He isolates the Zac, dissuades any sort of early pressure, and they do play around that. But that was a very quick game from both sides. Legacy throwing a lot of punches. Many of them didn't land, but Direwolves throwing a fair share as well. They were always being very proactive, reactive when they needed to be, but they like to play fast and loose. And honestly, it does look good more often than not. When Totoro can like link up with Raze and they can make that work, it did get to a point where they were overstepping, right? Like stepping way too deep against a Zac, a Kiana. Flanks can only happen if you don't play the slow game. If you don't incrementally push your vision line forwards, like wave by wave, then that's how it occurs. And they will go back and probably review that footage. But yeah, I think we saw the best and worst. And if they can only do the best from now on out, Direwolves look like a pretty solid team.
Yeah, it does look like the best. And I also look at the roster as well. You know, bot lane, I feel for me is locked in. But that's enough from us. We're going to send it over to Nick Boy to talk to the Direwolves.
Thank you very much. I've got one of the Wolves here. Get back. Well done.
Cheers, man.
The climb continues.
Yeah, slowly but surely.
This game, this win puts you equal with AV, who obviously are yet to play today. But you are within the top 5.
Yep.
You're up against Order tomorrow, who you are also pulling away from there in the bottom half. How are you feeling?
I feel pretty good overall. I was going to say, we kind of have to, it's a bit do or die this week, sitting in the position where we could go either side of the gauntlet, fighting for a better gauntlet spot or to be in gauntlet at all. Kind of need to pick up the 2-0 this week. So it's a bit stressful, but the week's not over yet, so I'm still not relaxed.
Do you thrive under that kind of pressure, or is it something that you're getting used to?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I think it's on my mind, but it doesn't affect me. In-game, doesn't affect me. Maybe affects me out of game a bit. Like, I think about it a lot more, but in-game, it feels the same. And
were you worried about the Kiana pick this game?
When I saw Azir, actually, the first thing I said is, I think they could play Azir AD carry or play Azir top or play Azir here or there because they're the type of team they'd want to pull that. And I saw the whole comp having this kind of dive mid comp, and so I was a bit hesitant in locking in the Talia. But yeah, they just switched up the whole draft to try and attack mid, which they did very well. So yeah, it was all right.
It was super solid from you the whole time. Look, finally, as I mentioned, you've pulled up ahead of Order. You've got Order tomorrow. Do you have a message for Order?
A message for Order, man?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, I'm a nice guy, man. I'm not here to talk shit. But
you can. I
can talk shit?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we'll send the old boys into retirement then. What about that then?
There you go. That's pretty good. All right, well, congratulations. Good luck tomorrow, because you've obviously set yourself up now. So you got to pull out the goods. It's a good that you thrive under pressure on the day. Well done, Get Back, and we'll be back right after this.
Cheers.
everything expended, and Legacy would have got ultimately nothing from the play, but CC lands to secure that kill. This is a response, Raze?
This is a 2 versus 4 currently, but they've actually forced the support away, and Guts jumps in but doesn't really have the backup of his team. Raze, once again, lands the flail, gets another kill. In for the top lane, Biopanther executes one. Bloblitz trying to reform, not going to happen. Katsuri gets another, and that's a 2 for 1.
Yeah. Normally, Talia is actually... Ooh, okay.
This is the prison. Still pushing forward, though. Yeah, into the brush, jumps onto Praedith. Guts following through, hits the Let's Bounce. In comes the Kled, though. Doesn't have anyone behind him, and there are so many Zhonya's Hourglass right now from the Direwolves. They're starting to get popped, though. Crazy. And Chaz chasing down Katsuri.
Legacy.
2 kills. Legacy getting another, but Biopanther in with a flank. Finishes off the Kled. Chaz separated from his team. He still wants this fight, though. Crazy behind him with Praedith. Laying down the Sand Soldiers. Crazy into a stopwatch. Get back, kiting away Chaz. We can't catch up to anybody in this fight. Crazy hops the wall. And that's 3 for 2, and Dire will still come out ahead. It's like, you get 2 kills, and it's like, there's a potential for a cleanup. I just gotta go for it. Good initiate by Guts. Praedith behind them as well. Yumi ultimate for the disengage zone. Katsuri slow. AD carries dead. Raze backing away. He's dead as well. Legacy starting to pick up some kills. Gangplank ultimate. Stalling a lot of these members, though. Jumping on to get back. Guts and Paprise doing a ton of damage. And this should be the 3rd kill. It's down, but the inhibitor, as the engage from Guts, has to go for this one.
Lands it.
Jumps in, gets the CC down, in with the flank path, Rise, jumping onto the backline, but Katsuri is untouched in this one and is able to fire back. Gets 2 kills onto the front line. Chaz and Praedith now getting chased down. He's slowed by Yumi, and that will be the double coming in for the Ezreal. Biopanther gets his own as well, and that will be 4 kills to the Wolves.
Yes.
The Dire Wolves managed to push on through and even mop up this last kill. Actually, Praedith looking for this one onto Raze, but we'll get that 1 return kill. But still, the Dire Wolves taking this one. We'll pick up the victory today.
You gave me this when we were just 16 years old. Darling, cop up.
A little goes a long way at Macca's. Grab 24 Chicken McNuggets for just $9.95 every day.
All right, Direwolves, looking strong.
Yeah, fantastic play from them.